Welcome back to another episode of the Work It podcast. I'm Gerald.
And I'm Nat, and me and Gerald are bringing you a very special edition of the Work It podcast that we like to call the Work Feed, where we will dive into this rabbit hole called the internet to find out what you are saying about your work. So today, Gerald, we're looking at Reddit because somebody has asked what the difference is working in the public sector versus the private sector.
Wow, I've got so much thoughts
Yeah.
about this.
I bet. Yeah, you have experience in the public sector.
Yes, that's why.
So, Bling Bling 98 was feeling stuck in the civil sector. She or he has been there for about 3 years now.
Mhm.
You got to check. Is that a long time or a short time?
I think it's for those of people who want to move out, they usually start thinking about it 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, so about there, right?
Yeah.
And so Bling Bling 98 has decided to hop over to a private MNC. Now, number one, if you have an opportunity to go to a private MNC, I think
Why
you
not?
explore it, right? So they are looking for tips, and Reddit definitely complied with some of the tips. First off, we have someone here who very, I guess, pragmatically says that you should have an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months, or if you can, make it 18 months before moving over, because I guess volatility in the private sector is quite a thing versus the public sector. Is that something that was true during your time? Because I have heard that, you don't really see people get fired in the public sector versus the private sector.
Yeah, I find that unless you are, maybe you need more savings if you are planning to live without a job,
Okay.
right? Then maybe that's where the 6 to 12 months makes a bit of sense.
The same person said is that in the private sector for bonuses, it's not guaranteed. So you got to expect some changes there.
Yeah, for sure. The frequency of bonuses in public sector is quite regular. I think that if I recall correctly, there are probably 3 times a year you get bonus payouts. 3 times a year.
That's good, man.
Yes.
3 times a year.
And I think 2 times you do get to see it being published in the news.
Yeah.
Right? They'll say public servants get how much, and all of these bonuses are deliberated across the public sector. All right, so it's quite transparent. And even to us as outsiders, we know how much they will be getting. So the regular pace of it is there. Private sector, non-regular, but you imagine the amounts can be discrete, right? Can be big. Oil and gas, I know it's like they pay really, really generously.
Yeah.
Same thing for banking finance as well. The bonuses may not be regular, but when it comes, it's good.
I have been in a lot of startups before this. So actually any dollar value on a bonus is a lot for me. But it is something that I have heard that, the private sector bonuses, it depends where you're at, where you can get really good remuneration at the end of the year or the financial year versus the public sector where you can kind of calculate it at the start of the year already. You know when more lump sums are coming in for you.
But truth be told, when a lot of the conversations I've had with people who are from public sector making a move to private or thinking about making a move, very often the motivation doesn't seem to be dollar and cents.
Oh, really? Okay.
A lot of times what I hear from them is they are maybe frustrated, they're fed up with the lack of impact at their work.
Right.
They find that things are not moving fast enough. They are worried also that they are not keeping up to standard with the market, right? Because after a while, there is this negative perception that if you stay in government service for a long time, you become a certain stereotype.
Yeah.
So people do feel like, okay, I should make a change as soon as I can. If the opportunity is there, if the money is more or less, okay, but opportunity is good, most of them will actually make a change.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting though, because somebody here actually says that the salary in the private market is higher than that in the public sector. So if people in the public sector are not looking at dollars and cents to move into the private sector, that means that there's actually quite a bit of difference in the working cultures in both places, right?
Yeah. So for example, being able to, as I mentioned earlier on, being able to create more impact, that's one. Of course, the pay itself, maybe in private sector, it could be better. It could be better. The other thing is also, of course, the progression. In public sector, sometimes there's this thinking that the promotion follows a timeline cycle. You have to wait your turn to be promoted. There is that thinking. Whereas in private sector, people can get promoted quickly, jumping several grades if you are a good performer.
Right.
So it feels a lot more, to a certain group of people, it feels more equitable.
Right.
Right? I work hard, I prove myself, I get my rewards. So that's the draw of the private sector there as well.
Is it also the case that you talked about impact and efficiency in the private sector, or let's say someone from the public sector moving to the private sector? Have you heard of them getting super culture shock because of how fast things are moving?
Most definitely,
Yeah.
definitely have. Yeah, I think they have to unlearn a lot
Yeah.
from what the public service has ingrained in them.
Mhm.
One thing, for example, is like submissions. Like submissions is the work that many officers have to do to put up a proposal, an idea, a policy, and they have to clear many of their bosses up the chain. All right, so sometimes it could be 5 layers, 6 layers in between you and the final decision maker.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people to claim.
Yes,
Okay,
correct. And each person takes X number of time to
yeah.
read what you have done. They will have call you for discussion, and there's a lot of back and forth
Okay.
until the work really gets cleared. And that's not even like the work is done. It's just like okay,
Oh.
okay to start the work.
Okay, you can do it now.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Wow.
So this mindset of like carefully thinking, being very cautious, being very intentional, analytical. These are good traits. But when you bring them to the private sector, sometimes it becomes a hindrance. I've heard many private sector people say, yeah, the government people think too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get down to the point. Don't give me a 30 slide explanation of the background and why we should do this. Just tell me 3 slides, right? What exactly is the solution?
Yes.
And how are we going to benefit from this? And that's it.
Right.
So this is something that public servants have to unlearn to be more direct. And to appeal to the private sector, right? To be direct, straight to the point.
There's something else that someone said here that was actually very interesting to me, which is that the private sector has a much lower tolerance for passengers. They call this. Effort alone does not count. Output and impact do. If you are useful, people give you space. If not, it becomes very obvious very quickly.
Yeah.
So is this something that I don't understand whether, or I don't quite know if this is, speaking to the truth
Yeah.
of how public sector workers tend to be.
Yeah.
But is it the case that you see a lot of passengers in public service?
I think there are passengers in everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe the crux is it easy to let them go? How easy it is to let them go? I
Yeah.
know from the private sector, what do you think?
Well, okay, so from the private sector, I've been in a fair few number of companies that have gone through layoffs, for example. But from what I know of people who work in public sector, they seem to have managers or directors who are very unwilling to let people go. If you are a bad performer, I've heard that they don't so much fire you, they wait until your contract is up and they just don't recontract you. So that's what I hear on the streets,
Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why the public sector contracts are kind of getting shorter. A lot of them are now like 1 year, and then it's renewable for another year, and then they decide whether do they want to emplace you into permanent headcount, right? So there is a long wait. So I do think that those are opportunities for them to let people go if they're underperforming.
Yeah.
Right. I do feel like in terms of coasting, whether is it easier to coast, maybe it comes from the negative perception that public servants are slower, they are out of touch with the market, and those perceptions make it seem like it's easier to do mediocre work lah.
Right.
And I think it doesn't help that many public servants I know, they really struggle with identifying their own value, right? When we ask them like what are their skill sets and what they're doing, most of them see themselves as administrators. They see themselves as generalists. They don't see themselves as providing a value. They don't see themselves having the skill sets required for the private sector.
Okay, but if you are mediocre and you try to coast through, you can lah, but not for very long. That's what
Honestly,
you're saying.
your performance bonus will show already.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
definitely.
You do because your pay is tagged to your performance. You will see lah. How come I'm not getting the grade that I'm getting?
Right.
Right.
Speaking of grade, I guess it's pretty well known that in the public sector, they have pay grading that is quite strict, right? And it's tagged to a number of things, whether it's your paper qualification, your number of years in the working force, or how much work you've done in this specific role. So have you seen that this is something that pushes people away from the public sector and
Mm.
seek a career in the private sector because it's very restrictive.
Yes, definitely. Yes, a lot of conversations I've heard so far is public sector workers being frustrated at the
Mm.
lack of progression.
Yeah.
They find that they should be earning more, and they feel like they look at the colleagues. Maybe they feel like everyone is not really in the achievement mode,
Uh-huh.
so they feel like they are hungry, and they feel like, okay, maybe I need to get out. The outside world, the private sector will allow me to climb a lot faster to reach my earning goals.
Need a different environment lah.
Yes, I do see that. In public service, every job is tied to a job grade, right?
Yeah.
And a job grade comes with a salary range,
Mm-hmm.
so you can progress. If you even don't get promoted, you can still get annual increments up to the cap of the job grade salary lah. Yeah.
Right.
So there is still that allowance, and some people are quite happy with that. They are just getting maybe 3%, 2%, 4% kind of increments every year. They can live with that lah. But there are people who cannot. You see,
Right.
they want to move out. And worst of all is the FOMO part, when they see other people getting promoted ahead of them, and this is where sometimes it gets a little bit maybe a bit unclear. Like, how is it the public sector promotion cycles? Is there some seniority based aspect to it? Like, people who have not been promoted before, then maybe give them chance first,
Yeah.
so they can keep them. Whereas people who are more achievement centric, they'll be like, I can do the job. Why don't you just give me that grade?
So there's a bit of like it depends which team you join. If you join a team in which there's a lot of people up for promotion, you can be waiting for quite a while before you see your turn come to light.
Yes,
Right.
I do see people like that when they make the career plan of deciding which department to post to. They
Yeah.
do see what is the leveling of the people in the team.
Oh wow.
Is there like a potential spot for progression? Let's say you are at you want to move towards management level. You want to see how many team leaders are there, and are they ready to move? How long have they been there? Because if the longer they've been there, maybe there's a chance that they will move.
Wow.
So then when they move, then there's a vacancy.
So there's still some like strategy gaming that you're doing in the public sector to see like how fast your career will progress
Yes,
if you join.
and I think, to be fair, it does happen even in the private sector as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's just that maybe in the public sector it's more obvious. More
In the
obvious.
private sector, I would imagine it's more of you identify the team structure, you see who's your quote unquote competition, who would be the one that would be gunning for a promotion at the same time that you are, and I guess see whether you're up to task to go head to head with them lah,
Yeah,
right?
so in a way, it's pretty similar. Right? I think there's a comment also here about how the two actually seems quite similar.
After some time, I guess, yeah. So this is a Vogue worm, right? We're looking at the same one. After some time, both sides aren't so different at all. There's a good and bad side to everything. You pick up experiences and skills along the way, no matter where you are, which will serve you in your next role.
I do think that public servants do need to know your value. They do need to understand that everything that they do does possess skills. So, for example, if somebody is doing policy paper writing and strategy planning, it might sound like these things are not relevant to the private sector.
Yeah.
But if you really dig down inside and you think about what does this job tasks entail, it requires you to be to plan and organize committee meetings, engage stakeholders, focus group discussion, facilitate meetings, gather opinions, gather all these different viewpoints, converge them together, analyze them, prepare content, a strategy, use best practices, and then after that present. All of these things are actually valuable skill sets. All right, that can be used, broken up, and used in different parts of the economy. All right, in every organization, there will be some functions that will require these skill sets, you see.
So it's understanding the overlap between what you have done, the skills that you have tapped on before, and what you want to do in the future, and seeing how you can sell yourself a little bit better to the people who are looking for talent to join them.
Exactly. So if today, for those of us public servants who are looking to move out, the biggest hurdle they need to cross is not knowing where they can fit in, and not knowing how to articulate the value that they have. So this is a very important thing for them to do. You need to start to evaluate and look back all the postings, all the job roles that you've done in public sector, right? What were the experiences and skills that were valuable and you want to use more of, that you can tie back to your own personal aspirations, so that when you merge your experiences, your transferable skills with your aspirations, the next employer from private sector will be able to understand
Right.
why you want to join me, and also what can you bring along with you from the public service into my company.
Right. So basically, they're asking lah, why would I hire you? What is it that you bring to the table?
Exactly.
Okay. We would be remiss not to mention the politics difference in the private and public sector. We have someone who talked about it here, but one thing that I do hear quite often is that there's a bit of this term wayang
Wayang, yeah.
in the public sector. You know, a lot of people like to just say something for the sake of saying something, just to say that they were part of this discussion or that they have contributed their thoughts to making this thing work. Is that something that is real? Is that just
Hmm.
a rumor that goes around sometimes?
I'm trying to think about how different it is, the wayang part,
Uh-huh.
which I would term as maybe visibility,
Yes.
trying to look
Okay.
visible.
Mm-mm.
How different is it from the public sector and the private sector?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's quite similar.
Right.
I don't see that as different, but I do find that in the public sector, a lot more they use a lot more of emails.
Oh, okay. So
All right.
everything is like in pen and paper,
Yes.
or in black and white, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So I do find that people do maybe even know how to be visible over email.
Mm.
Yeah, they know how to use emails to add on, to reply to all, and then add on the little
Oh,
comment,
okay.
which might not be very um needed,
Yeah.
right? When you can just call the person and say, hey, this is the thing, and there's a lot of trying to put everything on black and white. So
Ah,
that's why it sometimes might look like you are trying to curry favor. You're trying to
yeah.
be look like you have a stand.
Show people you're working.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess in that case, it's not so different from private sector.
How is it like there?
I mean, you definitely see people who like to talk. Wow, yesterday I do so many things. I do this, I do that. Hey, what do you do yesterday? Well, I also same. I also very tired. But actually, then you look in their calendar, wow, brother, why all empty? I guess you
It
just
exists
see these
everywhere.
people everywhere you go.
Everywhere, yeah.
Someone here says that it's generally harder to move from the civil service
Mm,
into the private sector than the other way around.
mm.
Do you think this is the case?
I do think there's some truth to this,
Uh-huh.
only because there is of the existing perception of how people view the public service. Yeah, because I think they see public service as uh, different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for profit. It's heavy, bureaucratic, and people there are more straightforward, or rather, they follow the book. So there are all these perceptions that are actually not helpful at all, right?
Mm.
So that's why I guess people might find that, actually, from moving from one side to the other side, from public to private, is not so easy lah. Because one of the things I do observe is people who successfully make transitions from public to private, they often enter maybe adjacent roles.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe in private sector, there are roles that are relating to regulation, compliance, corporate relations,
Mm.
government relations. All these actually become maybe suitable holding grounds for them. And also, of course, if today you know someone who used to be an ex-civil servant, who's now in private sector, I think they will be more understanding towards seeing like you being able to fit into their culture and their workplace because they have done it.
Right.
They have been there before. They paved the way in a way lah.
Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful to any of you who are juggling between the two sectors. But if you relate, or if you have other work-related questions for Gerald or I, we would love to hear directly from you. So drop us an email at cnapodcast@mediacorp.com.sg.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Nat. Public or private, what impacts your career most is the environment that motivates you to keep growing.